الله الله الله.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah exalt his mention. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah exalt his mention, was born in the year 571. This year was known as the year of elephants. It was the year when an army had come from Yemen. Its leader was mounted on the back of a huge elephant. The army had come to pull down the Kaaba. The Kaaba was protected by Allah. Allah sent flights of birds which pelted the army with stones, and they were killed one by one along with their leader. The people of Mecca were so excited at the sight of the elephant that they named the year of elephant. The Prophet's father Abdullah, who was a member of the Quraysh tribe, had died a few months before the birth of Prophet. His mother, whose name was Amina, sent Muhammad out into the desert to be nursed, as was the practice of those days. This practice is still seen among the rich Arabs of Mecca. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah exalt his mention, was brought up there by his wet nurse Halima. The babies become good in health in the pure air of the desert, and they are kept away from all things bad. Muhammad's days in the desert were his happiest days at the age of 5. However, he was returned to his mother, but she died before the end of the year. Muhammad was 6 years old then. The little orphan was then passed on the care of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, who died 2 years later. Muhammad then was put in the care of his uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Talib, not being rich, had to work very hard. Muhammad also worked and helped his uncle in many ways. Abu Talib was a merchant and at times went to Syria for business. One day he planned to go there. He had no mind to take Muhammad with him, but Muhammad clung to Abu Talib in such a way that he took pity and decided to take Muhammad with him to Syria. Muhammad was 12 years old then. When the caravan reached Busra, they rested. Busra was a fine city about 125 kilometers away from the city of Damascus. There lived a monk called Buhayra. When the monk saw the caravan resting under a tree, he came out from his cell and prepared food for the caravan. The monk told Abu Talib that Muhammad had a great future and that he should take care of him. Abu Talib took Muhammad and brought him back to Mecca safely. By the time he was 25, Muhammad had become well known in the city of Mecca because of his honesty. He was honest, truthful, and one of the finest manners. People respected him. They called him Al-Amin, which means worthy of trust. Khadija was a trade woman of Mecca. She was very rich. She used to hire men to carry things to Syria for sale. She had heard of Muhammad's truthful ways. She knew that Muhammad was a man of honest character. She called him one day to ask him to go to Syria to sell her good. She promised to pay him more than she paid others. Muhammad agreed. Maysara, Khadija's slave, went with him for help. Muhammad's honesty and wise was brought him great grains for Khadija. Muhammad sold everything he had brought and bought all that Khadija had asked him to buy. On coming back to Mecca, Maysara told everything about the trip to Khadija. He told her how gentle Muhammad had been and how honest Muhammad was. Khadija was greatly impressed. Khadija, who had refused the offers of marriage from many of the noblemen of Mecca, decided to marry Muhammad, and he married her. This marriage brought great happiness to both of them. Khadija gave him daughters as well as sons. She was the mother of all the children of our Prophet Muhammad, except Ibrahim, besides 3 sons. Prophet Muhammad had 4 daughters. The sons died young. The 4 daughters are Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum, Fatima. The sons are Al-Qasim, Abdullah, Ibrahim. May Allah be pleased with them all. Khadija was the greatest of women. The Quraysh had decided to rebuild the Kaaba. It had been damaged by a flood. The sudden flood had shaken its building and made cracks in its walls. The building was made of loose stones and it has no ceiling. All the tribes of Mecca joined hands in raising the building. Its citizens helped in one of the other way. Muhammad also helped in the work. But when the work reached as high as the place of the black stone, a serious problem arose. People quarreled over should place the black stone in its place. The Kaaba was built by Prophet Ibrahim, and this black stone was fixed by him to show the Mecca pilgrims where to begin their walking round the noble Kaaba. Everyone wished to have the honor of fixing the black stone in its place, and the quarrel arose. The Arab tribes were not for of killing one another. The trouble did not seem to be ending, but someone advised that they should leave the matter till next morning and leave it for the one to decide who would enter the place first. It was no one else but Muhammad who turned up first the next morning. People respected Muhammad greatly. They called him Al-Amin. When they saw him, they left very pleased. They asked him to settle the dispute. Muhammad asked for a big piece of cloth and placed the black stone on it. He then called one man from each tribe and asked each one of them to lift a corner of the cloth and carry it to the place. The Prophet then himself fitted the stone into its place. Thus a great quarrel was settled without spilling blood.